What's happening, Pod Squad? Welcome in to episode 70 something. I don't even know what episode number it is anymore. Thanks for watching on the YouTube, listening on podcast format. I am psyched to have this fine young gentleman in the podcast studio with me today. Well, not the real studio, virtually. And he's going to put up with my chest infection and my terrible voice. Thank you for that. And he's going to share his story of how he is striping lines at, how old are you, Eli?
Turned 13 this February.
It's ridiculous, bro. Striping at 12. Oh, you turned 13 this February.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Eli Joles. How are you today, dude? Are you feeling good?
Yeah, got yelled at by a couple of teachers at school today, but
Let's get into it. What did you do? What did you do?
it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Bro, come on now. What happened?
So, so this kid like got his Chromebook hidden in a drawer, and then they said that and then like everybody was saying that it was me. People were saying that they saw me do it, and it wasn't me, and I almost got written up for it. And then I was like arguing with like three teachers trying to say that I'm getting written up for something that I didn't do. And then eventually I got my way and didn't get written up, but I did get lunch detention. So
Question. Is your dad Marvin listening to this right now?
he is not.
Okay. Does he know about this?
He does.
Oh, okay. Like, I don't want to get involved in like a weird parenting dynamic, but I was going to say it'd be pretty funny if he listened to this and was like, what? How come you didn't tell me about that?
Every single thing I do, the school calls my parents. It's annoying.
That's what they do. You a big fan? I'm going to ask you about the striping stuff. I'm going to get into all that, but I have other questions. Are you a big fan of school? Do you like it?
I mean, I was wanting to be homeschooled because then I could stripe more lines and make more money and stuff. But then I wouldn't be able to talk to my friends. I wouldn't be able to do that many sports. And I think that I'd just become like an introvert if I went homeschooled, and I don't want that to happen.
I get it. I homeschooled. I homeschooled for 4.5 years.
I mean, I'd like to try it out before I graduate, like 1 year maybe,
Sure.
just to see how it goes.
Yeah. So, okay, that's funny. The first thing you said when you're like, I'd like to homeschool and ask why is because you're like, I could stripe more. Bro, why are you, what? So just so everyone knows, 13 years old, you have the Instagram account, The Striping Kid,
Yep.
which is going to be really funny in 10 years when you're like a full blown adult dude. But whatever, that's fine. The Striping Kid. Where did this, I think we all know where it came from, but why striping? Why do you love it so much?
Well, I've always liked art and stuff. Like on my fifth birthday, I got a paint and set, and then I ended up like making a big mess with it and never got paint sets again. But I've always just liked it. And then when I was seal coating, when I was like 5 years old, I liked just brushing single lines because it reminded me of painting. And now once I went line striping for the first time, I never actually got to push it, but then I just take videos of my dad pushing the striper so I could watch over it and be like, "Whoa." And then just like when I was 7, my dad said, "You ready to push it?" And I was just like flabbergasted that I was gonna be able to push it. Thought it was a piece of cake. And my first line went like that, like a literal banana. And I was so embarrassed and never wanted to push it ever again. But then I ended up doing two more that day, and then I got started to get the hang of it. And then I didn't have problems making the line straight, but then I had problems with releasing. So then I had to work on my release. And then once I got that down, I was good to go. And now it's just what I do.
It's just what you do.
Yep.
Striping Kid. Well, how much do you actually do, bro? Like, tell me about this. Like, I follow the Instagram, so I see you doing stuff, but like, how much stuff?
Well, every time, like, I go on seal coating jobs, but then after we usually go and stripe it that day. And if we have to make a layout, my dad will help me with the layout. But then if he has enough confidence that I won't mess up because it's like just single stalls and not like I'm not good at stencils. Like I've messed up on I gotta work on stencils, but the first time I did it, I just went shh like a spray can and I completely messed it up. But I sometimes he just like drops me off and then he helps me chalk the lines and then he just goes to the gas station or something. I'll just push it and then it'll be done in 30 minutes and we can leave. But it's I don't know why I like it so much. I just do.
I can empathize. I love it. I don't do nearly enough of it anymore, but man, I love it. So it's not just striping with you though. Like I see, and Marvin, your dad, he's talked about it too. Like you got some other side hustles that you do, like in wintertime. Where does all this ambition come from, bro?
I don't know. I like I like buying things and I can't buy things unless I have money and I was taught that you make money by working, so it's just gotta work.
That's it. That's it. Well, that's so cool. My kids are little. My kids are like, well, I guess they're at the age that you started at. Basically, like my kids are 9 and 7. I've got a baby too, and I let them drive around on like the we have like line drivers and stuff. So they would like drive around on the paint machines. I won't let them like stripe a line yet. I probably should though after talking to you because I'm like, well, you were doing it at 7. Man, it's so cool. So where do you see this all going? Like,
Well, I'd like to wrestle in college and stuff, but then after that, it's either I got three things: wrestle in college, join the Marines, or a line stripe. And I'm just like, whatever falls in my path is what I'm gonna end up doing.
yeah, which one's number one though? What do you want to do the most?
Wrestle, line stripe, because I can line stripe after wrestling.
It's
But
true.
then if I wrestle and get done with college, I can't join the Marines because they don't want 34-year-olds in the Marines.
Probably not. Probably not. All right, I'm gonna say something that you're either gonna like hate and you might just like exit the interview 5 minutes early or like 5 minutes into it. But I'm going to say it anyways. Your mannerisms are just like your dad, Marvin. It's crazy. It's like I'm talking to Marvin. Does that infuriate you? Or are you like, yeah, I know?
Yeah, I just like when people like more and more people have been saying that because I've been like I feel like I'm more around my dad now because I been going to more expos with my dad, more events with my dad, and then I've like heard the way that my dad talks to like his friends and stuff, and I've just kind of I'm t slowly turning into him, and then people more and more people have been saying I look like him, so just turning into my dad.
I think, yeah, you do kind of look like him. It's just like the mannerisms. I'm like, it's like talking to Marvin. It's unbelievable. Does that bug you at all? Because it doesn't bug you at all.
No,
Because when people say that about me and my dad's way older than me. Like I was the last of the 5 kids, so my dad's old. But when Robin's my wife, she's like, oh, yeah, that's like something your dad does. It drives me insane. I don't know why. I love my dad. I got nothing against him. I just think it's like, no, I'm not like my dad. Get out of here. You just embrace it, bro. Good for you. All right. What was it like? Like, okay, you just said something. You've been going to all these conferences and expos. I've seen you in the photos, and you're probably starting to get recognized now. People are like, oh yeah, striping kid. There's Eli and Marvin, man in the booth. How does that feel?
it's nice. This guy at World of Asphalt, he ran up and then my dad was gonna shake his hand. He just walked right past my dad and then went to me and then asked my dad if he could take a photo with us. And he was from Hawaii.
No way, bro. Is he striping in Hawaii?
He just recognized me. And then when I looked at his tag, it was Hawaii. And I was just like, then him and my dad talked for a little bit, and then I went and looked at some pavers, and then when I came back, he shook my hand, and then he walked away. And it's lots of people are wanting to talk to me and take photos with me and ask me questions and stuff. And it's just, I like it because it makes me feel like I'm a celebrity pretty much.
You kind of are in the striping world, dude. I don't know anyone else who started a striping page at like 12 years old. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, give me the real deets. What was your dad like growing up?
What was my dad like growing up? From what I know, he started working at 12 doing roofing. And then he told me that when he got his first $100 bill, he was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be rich. And then he started seal coating. And then once he started seal coating, most people don't know this, but in like 2017, he had this thing that he'd do called Wiscoat Wednesday, where he'd bring in people from our town and then just interview them and talk about random things and then stuff. And then they'd leave, and then it'd just be like a 15-minute video. And then once he stopped doing Wiscoat Wednesday, about 3 years later, he started Blacktop Banter, and then we were doing Blacktop Banter in our basement, and then we moved to a different studio, and now we're here. But my dad, he grew up in like he didn't have a lot of stuff from what I know, and he had to work for it all. But it's turned out pretty good for us.
What's up, Pod Squad? This episode of the show is brought to you by our friends at Mighty Line Floor Tape. So, true story, our company started using Mighty Line. We found the product like half a year ago, 2023, we found it, and we started using it, and I was blown away. The product is incredible. And so many of us in the striping industry want to do interior striping, but we also know that interior striping on concrete usually does not work out very well. This is a fantastic solution. If you have customers that want safe walk lines or customized floor decals, check out their website on Mighty Line. It's incredible. They have an awesome portfolio of stuff. And if you've never tried the product before, head to the website, let them know that you got the info from the podcast, and they will actually send you a free sample box. Check it out, Mighty Line Floor Tape. We are so grateful for them to be sponsoring the podcast.
Totally. Man. I'm so psyched to see you guys together. Like, it's just cool. Like, it's unbelievably cool. So what were you doing this winter? You're doing some crazy, like,
Shoveling driveways.
oh, that's old school, man. You were just going around shoveling driveways?
Yeah, I had two
I thought it was some
shovels.
like crazy elaborate thing.
No, so what I did was I made business cards and then I put business cards up at our grocery store in town. And then people were calling me and then I'd go to their driveway and then they'd be like, or if I'd like hustle just random people and they'd be like, no, I got a snow blower. And it sucks to hear that because like, like, come on. And then this one guy, he said that he's getting his stepbrother to come do it for $30. And I said, you can let me do it for 20. And then we were negotiating for a while. And then it came down to $10. And then I was able to do a sidewalk for $10, but he was going to let his stepbrother or his brother, I think it was his brother or stepbrother, do the parking lot or the driveway.
Man.
But yeah, I was freezing. My feet were soaked because cars would drive by and splash water on me and it'd get soak into my boots, but I just had to deal with it.
Dang, man. So are you like a normal 13-year-old though? You still like play video games and stuff, right? You're big into wrestling and sports. Like,
I just got off Call of Duty.
you like just before we started recording?
Yeah, I dropped the 20 bomb on Warzone.
Boom. Are you going to go back to it as soon as we stop?
Oh, I got soccer,
Oh,
soccer, and then I'm probably gonna go back to Call of Duty.
man, good for you. Okay, we're going to talk about some striping specific stuff.
All right.
But before I'm gonna get right into it. Striking specific stuffs. So I make everyone who comes on this humble podcast fill out this intake form, and it's like, hey, what do you want to talk about? And you said I want to talk about line striping and how I can get better at it. What's the biggest thing? Was like what? I'm sure if you have something you want to get better at, other people listening are going to be like, I would like to get better at that too. What's the biggest thing you want to improve on? Is it stencils like you were saying, or is it something else?
Well, I've done stencils, but something that I've never done is with like double yellows and then how it like rounds out around the end. I've seen people where they have a swing arm and they just go and it swings around and does it perfectly. And I want to get one of those, and I don't know how much they cost or how much any of that is, but I'd like to try it.
Bro. So we've got the swing arm thing. We got one. We got it for a job last year. So we have a Costco here. Does your Costco have the hoopy hoops?
Hoopy hoops?
Like your closest Costco, does it have like the double stalls with the hoopy end that you're talking
Oh
about?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know what they're officially called. I call them hoopy hoops. Most people call them Hollywood parking stalls, but whatever. Yeah, we have a Costco here that has the hoopy hoop thing, but we've never been able to get the contract for striping there. It's a long story. Whatever. I don't want to get into it. But there's this mill that's like 45 minutes away, and all their parking spots have the hoopy hoop. So I was like, this is great. I'm going to buy the swing arm thing because that's going to make our life a lot easier. I think it's like $400. So it's not cheap. It's not cheap. However, I will say this. If you can somehow con your way into getting one, it's such a time saver, like huge time saver. So, do you know the guy who makes it? It's just a guy. I know your dad knows him really well. I know him pretty good too. His name's Jim Panzenhagen. Go to his website after this. Check out his website. It's linecheater.com.
I've heard of him. I think I've seen him on Instagram a couple of times. Isn't did he go on? I think he went on like a boat with his wife or something, and there was like they were like sitting. I think I seen something with him in it. I'm not sure.
I could see Jim on a boat. I've bugged Jim to come on this podcast. We haven't actually made it work yet. I should try harder. I guarantee he's not listening. So I've told him this before. Like anytime I mention his line cheater stuff or the hoop de hoop thing, like I'm giving him free like promotion. So like I'm happy to do it though. No, it's pretty sweet. The other option, you know what the other option is, right? If you don't have the hoop de hoop, the swing arm thing, you just
Do it
make
by
like,
hand.
oh, well, if you're a gangster, dude, yeah, you could. You could.
I think I could do that. I think I could do that.
You could. Okay. So ultimate number one if you have to do Hollywood stalls is yeah, get Jim's line cheater or the I forget what he calls it, the radius maker, I think he calls it. It's like $400, so it's not cheap. But you have it, it'll save you time. Next best thing is you get like some decent quality material, not cardboard unless you have to. Cardboard would work, but get like some sort of plastic and cut out the stencils yourself. So you cut one out on like plastic and then you put it on top of another piece of plastic and cut out another one and then another one. And you get like as many as you want to make. Like if it's a big parking lot, you got like a 500 of these to do. Make like 20 of them. And then you just like lay them out on a restripe, like lay them out all the 20 stencils, spray them. And then you painstakingly move them to the next set of lines. I mean, it's not great, but it works.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, I was just sitting down one time and I was thinking, like, what if someone made like a stencil where it had like hooks and it could like extend out so like it like have a latch. Like if say the double yellows are like 3 inches apart, you could move it so the thing would be 3 inches. You line up and just go, or it could go and go to like 7, and you could just.
Boom. It's true.
I
So
don't know if
his
it's a thing yet though. I don't know if it's a thing yet though.
I don't know if it's a thing. In fact, I'm blanking, dude, off the top of my head. I know Jim's thing, the radius tool, the hoop de hoop machine, it can be adjusted a little bit because not all the double lines are the same width. But I can't remember how much you can adjust it. But yeah, third option is if you're restriping, you could go in and freehand it. You could. I wouldn't recommend it though. You ever freehand anything when you're striping?
Oh, mm. Well, sometimes like when we're doing semi stalls and then there's like the back of a semi, I don't know what it's called, and it's in the way, we'll get
Yeah.
like 2 pieces of wood and then we'll line them up with the line, and then we'll get my dad to push the striper as close as he can, then he'll hand me the gun and I'll go underneath the semi and I'll go on the wood, and then it'll basically just make it look like we never stopped. So I got to do that with freehand. And if we make like an error where, well, we use like this, if we ever mess up and it's on sealer, we have like this black like spray paint thing, and when it dries, it looks like sealer. And we'll get a shingle and then set it on the line where we messed up and spray it and make it nice and smooth. But that's all I ever do with my hands.
Oh, you guys got all the tricks. Yeah. So I'll be straight up. When it was just me, like just me striping in my company, I freehand stuff all the time, bro. Because I like the challenge. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So like, there's this one property that had like stencils, like it was stop stencils, and they were like 2 feet long. It was this really weird size, and they weren't like you could tell somebody had used a stencil before, but they weren't like perfectly round. They were kind of like squared off and stuff. So I was like, I'm not gonna make my own stencil for this because it's gonna take a long time. So I just went there and I would just freehand it, and as long as you're careful, I mean, it's fun to do. I wouldn't want my employees doing it, but turn the pressure way down, like as low as you can go, and put no, don't change. Yeah, put in a smaller spray tip, so you're not putting out as much paint, like a smaller, like I don't know what the Titan spray tips are off the top of my brain, but like instead of like a 419, do like a 417, so that way you can go slower. And I found as long as you turn the pressure way down and use a smaller like tip, freehanding actually isn't that hard. You just go nice and slow, and it's cool.
I feel like as I'm going, I'd get nervous and my hand would start shaking, and then it'd start to look like a heartbeat.
Bro, the hard part comes when you start to go off track when you're freehanding and you have to make that decision instantly. Like, am I going to try and correct this and continue, or am I just going to stop? And normally if you try and keep going, you kind of just make it worse. Is what it is.
I'd
But
never do it with my dad not there because I need to come back and see a big mistake. That wouldn't
yeah,
be good.
you're basically the employee and he's like, hey, that's not how we do it. Yeah, I get it. All right. What else is you got cooking striping wise? Like what have you not done? What have you done but struggled with?
Hmm.
You're saying stencils earlier. What's the deal with those?
I've only done a few stencils in my career, striping career, for 6 years. But like when I do it, like I'd do it and then I'd stop early and then I'd have to come back around, or like I'd bring it too far out and it just looked like specks and then I'd miss spots and then I'd forget that it's a spray gun and I'm not supposed to go like this like a spray can, and I'll just start going like this on it and it'd look terrible. And then when I peel it up, sometimes the paint's not fully dry and I'll rip up some of the paint with it and I just mess up on stencils.
Dude, totally. Um, you ever tried using a totally different spray tip instead of the regular striping tips?
Mm-mm.
Actually kind of works decent. Yeah, so Graco and Titan, they make spray tips where instead of like the normal line painting tips, they just put out like a straight line of paint. But if you're spraying a lot of stencils, you could actually put in like a spray tip that sprays less paint on the edges. So it's like light on the edges and then heavier in the middle and then light on the edges. And if you have to do like a million stencils, it's actually really convenient because the overspray that you put on the stencil will be way less. So you'll still get the same build in the middle, like you'll put enough paint down in the handicap stencil or whatever. But like those, so I know with Graco they're black. The black spray tips instead of your yellow ones, you take the yellow one out, put a black one in, and it puts just a little bit of paint on the edges. If you have like 50 stencils to do, it's super convenient. Yeah.
Seems I've like usually my dad makes me clean. Oh, sorry. My dad makes me clean all the stencils, and I think I made a post about that on Instagram, the big mess in the corner. And then he came in to help me fix my dirt bike and saw the big mess, and he I haven't cleaned it up yet, but I gotta clean it up.
That's the other downside of stencils. Yeah, stencil cleanup sucks. I hate it.
I usually do them. I usually do them outside, but then it was cold out and raining, so I couldn't go outside, and I had to make a post. So.
Totally. So what's the plan this year? You're gonna do a lot of the striping for Wizcoat? Like how does this work?
Um, I'm gonna stripe, make some posts on Instagram, try to grow my following. Maybe go to a couple more events, maybe, and just learn. I'm supposed to be going somewhere. I can't remember where it is. My dad knows, but I'm supposed to be going somewhere to learn more about it. It seems pretty thrilling.
When are you going? Summer break maybe? Like what is this? I'm interested because I want to know what it is. Like should I be going to this?
It's probably during summer break when like sometimes I don't know about like anything until like 3 days before it's about to happen. So like my dad will tell me, yeah, you're doing this in the summer, and then I'll completely forget about it. And then 3 days before it happens, they'll be like, okay, you gotta start doing this. And then I'll forget, and then he says, okay, we're leaving in 5 minutes, and I have nothing packed. And and then he tells me to set reminders in my phone and stuff, and I do. I set reminders, but then usually, like when I get a reminder, I don't even look at it. I just click snooze because it's annoying and I want it to turn off. That's not good though.
Ah, whatever. That's fine. You'll figure it out. Well, dude, I think you're a rare dude. I don't think most 13-year-olds are interested in like work. And I don't even mean that in like a bad way. Like, you know how like some old people are like, oh, kids these days, they don't want to work. I actually don't think that's true. I just think what I mean is like, there's a lot of, I think it's like parenting, man. I think a lot of parents just don't encourage their kids to go try stuff and be ambitious. Like my kids, they're 9 and 7, so they're pretty little, but like they love to bring out this little podium to the front of their driveway, in front of our driveway, and they'll like just sell random stuff. They'll sell like balloons, they'll sell like beaded necklaces and stuff that they make. And I just tell them like, that's awesome. Like, absolutely go hustle. So good for you, man. I think you're a rare dude.
Yeah, most of the kids at my school, like there's this seventh grade or eighth grader named James. He doesn't even call me by my name. He calls me the line striping kid. And then a bunch of the kids at my lunch table, I'll be talking about him. I was like, yeah, I got to go on a podcast this afternoon. I'm gonna be late to soccer practice. And they're like, you're watching a podcast or you're going on a podcast? And I had to describe to them what it was about and everything. And some of them still don't understand, but there's just nothing you can do when they don't understand, and you've described it to them 3 times.
See that, what you just said, Marvin would say the same thing. People just don't understand, man. It's like you're the same dude. It's crazy. Well, you showed up, you did the podcast. I'm not going to keep you that much longer because you got stuff to do. Not only did you show up, you outdid our studio. You got like the blue lights going on here and everything. Man, you.
I wish I could. I might be able to show you the rest if I can like turn this.
We're going to get like a Blacktop Bandit recording studio tour today. Let's go. Don't break stuff. What is that?
This is just the podcast room.
Oh yeah, cool.
And
cool.
then there's like an interview room straight that way, and then there's the merch in the back, and then there's the office over there.
This isn't at your guys' house. This is at the studio.
Yeah. I'll have
Oh.
to. I don't know if my camera's crooked. I'll post a video on Instagram, a tour.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. Before you go, if you, like I said, you're a rare dude, man. 13. Keep hustling, keep grinding. I'm psyched to see your channel grow. I'm gonna do whatever I can to help you promote it. That's why you're on here today. What's the best advice you could give somebody who's like your age bracket and they're like, I want to make money. I want to go do cool stuff. I want to have an Instagram account. What advice would you give them?
Just do it. You gotta, like, some kids are like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then they do it for 3 days, and then they stop, and then they'll get the idea to do it again, and then they'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then they make a big plan, and then they just don't do it. Like, once you start, you just gotta keep going. Like with my Instagram, I made like 4 posts, and then I have 50 followers, and then I stopped posting, and then Stencil Plus is like, we'll let you be an ambassador. You got to make 2 posts a month. And then as I was posting about Stencil Plus, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of fun. Oh, I'm going to World of Asphalt. This is going to be a bunch of content. Now I got like 2 months worth of content just stored in my phone. So then I just got to go on the app, copy and paste my hashtags from my notes, and then I'm good. It's like you just gotta, I don't want to sound corny, but like, just do it. Like a bunch of people say it, but like, it's really what you gotta do. Like, you gotta just do it, you know?
Eli, just do it, Joles. Well said. Bro, I'm not even going to add anything to that. You're spot on. You're spot on. Starting as the hardest part. You nailed it. All right. I appreciate you for coming on. Thanks. We're going to make sure we tag you in all this stuff so that you can promote it, put it on your channel. And if anyone is not following Eli Joles' Instagram, we're going to put it in the show notes so you can click on it, literally click on it and go follow it. Go follow it. Dude's 13 and he's striping parking lots. Unbelievable. Bro, keep crushing it. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You rock.